Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know you guys were not expecting to see me so soon. I'm back, okay? Today we're gonna be talking about how I managed to top tick my trades, top slash bottom, whatever. But before we get into that topic, we're gonna be taking a payout here with you guys just to kind of like prove my validity. We took a $2,000 payout yesterday, and I'm gonna take another one with you guys on YouTube. So that's gonna bring us to what, like a 4K week. So we're gonna take a 2K payout from Lucid really quickly before we get into how I managed to top tick trades. And I actually top ticked the NASDAQ today. Like, I caught the absolute freaking top, the daily top. So I'll show you guys how I break that down and how I usually go about trying to find those type of levels. And yeah, so we're gonna get straight into this video. We're not gonna waste any freaking time today. Oh, also a little update. I think the last time you guys saw me, I had 20 funded accounts. I am now at 25. I have 3 on my funded futures now. Well, I have 5 on my funded futures, but only 3 can get activated. I didn't know that prior to purchasing them. I would have purchased the other plan. But apparently they just recently updated the rules to where you can only have 3 instead of 5, which is unfortunate, but they said that they'll just have those accounts on standby in case I ever need them. So they'll be there, and it's a good and a bad thing. Like, I can be a little bit more risky. I can take these risks I usually wouldn't take. So it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. So yeah, we're gonna go and take this payout, and then we're gonna get to the charts, and we're gonna have a good video today. So hopefully this is a good video for you guys. Let's take this payout from Lucid. Let's go. Okay, so we're over here on Lucid. You can see I only have 1 account that is qualified. Yeah, this is the one we took a payout on yesterday, so it currently has 0 days. Maybe I should move my cam. Okay, so it currently has 0 days, and this is the one we're gonna request on today. So let's go ahead and click request payout. You can see these payouts that I've gotten from Lucid so far since starting with them. We're gonna do my bank account, and then just gonna put the max, which is 2K, and just like that, that is it. That's all. So yeah, Lucid's pretty quick. I usually get the payout within like the next day, so they're super quick. I love Lucid. I recommend Lucid to literally anybody. But now we can talk about the fun stuff. How do I find top ticks? How do I find bottom ticks? How do I find, well, I would say how do I find continuations, but that can be a separate video in itself. We're going to stick to how do I find top ticks and how do I find bottom ticks. And what do I ask myself? Because I do ask myself questions before I take a trade that I think is going to be a top or a bottom tick. So we can also get all into that stuff. So let's shift to the charts so I can show you guys. And I'll also show you guys the trade that I took today on my funded futures, which was a top tick of the NASDAQ. So I'll show you guys that as well, the P&L, and yeah. And just kind of give you guys like a little grip on why I love Lucid. Literally haven't even opened the charts fully, and look at that. Payout sent already. I love Lucid. Cannot express it enough. And I also wanted to show you guys the trade that I took, so you guys don't think I'm very transparent on this channel. I don't know if you're new here, you probably don't realize, or you probably don't know me, but I am very transparent about everything, losses, wins, everything, because I know a lot of people out there in the trading space just isn't as transparent. So I try to be as transparent as possible so people know I don't have any ill intent when it comes to sharing anything with anyone. So this is my trade that I took. And this was on that my funded futures account, right? So I had a 1 NQ con at 29729.5, and obviously my TP was there where I thought structurally it would be safe. So yeah, let's get to the chart. We're gonna use Top Step to kind of give you guys a rundown of what I look for. How did I identify this setup today? Everything that you need to know. Okay, so this is what it usually looks like when I'm trading at any time of the day. If I'm on my desktop, I'm usually trading on my MacBook, but if I'm at home, I'm on my desktop. You guys can also, if you guys are interested, I do live stream my trades on TikTok every morning if I am at my desktop. If I'm not streaming live on TikTok, then I'm just not at my desktop. I'm on my MacBook, and I'm probably trading from my bed or from my couch or from I don't know, anywhere, from somewhere I don't have no business trading. So if you guys ever want to catch me live or have any questions, follow me on TikTok. I'm live on TikTok and I share my trades. And usually if you walk into my live on TikTok, my full analysis is on my charts. So you can see my thought process and you can ask me what my thought process is and I'll let you know why my thought process is that. Yeah, so be sure to follow me on the TikTok. Okay, so yeah, so when I get here in the morning, this is what it looks like. I have the 5 minute paired with the 1 hour with the 4 hour. And why, you may be asking, is because for one, if you are trading and you are only looking at the 5 minute, the 1 minute, the 3 minute, the 30 second, it's just not enough contextual. Like, it's just not enough context for you to really realize what's going on in the greater picture of things, because you may be long in an area that's empty. You know what I mean? Like the area that you're longing on the 4 hour may be completely empty beneath, meaning there's so much room to the downside. There's things like that you need to recognize, and things like that on the higher time frame that you just need to see before you take a trade based off of just the 5 minute. I only use the 5 minute to see how my trade is doing when I'm in the trade. It is not my entry model. I do not use the 5 minutes to enter. I use the 5 minute to simply monitor my trade. That's it. That's all. So the 4 hour is my bread and butter. I love the 4 hour. She tells you so much. She tells you everything you need to know about everything. Okay. So the 4 hour, specifically today, right? Let's mark my entry on this chart and my take profit and everything. Let's mark all of that. Okay, so first of all, we have it marked now. Entry was at 7279 area. TP was at 612 area, right? So my entry could have been better. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, my entry could have been better. My entry was delayed because I was looking at ES when I took my entry on NQ. So my entry on NQ was based off of how ES was moving, because ES was approaching a very major area for me. So I took my entry on NQ, but I was looking at ES. So my entry was a little bit delayed and I had to log into my account because I wasn't logged in, because it was 12 o'clock. I didn't plan on taking a trade, but this was like a really, really good trade. So my entry was a little delayed, but nonetheless, still a perfect, beautiful entry on NQ, the entry that I wanted. Literally my game plan this morning. Is it still on my chart? Yeah, it was up here. So I wanted around 22 to 27 area. So that's why I said it was a little bit delayed, because I was looking at ES, but taking my entries on NQ, if that makes sense. So anyways, back to NQ. Oh, that is not NQ. Okay, so back to NQ. So I took my entry around here and I took my take profit around there. Okay, Kennedy, what question do you ask yourself in order for you to be able to take a position like this and be so confident to hold it like that? You know, and let me tell you guys this. When I take a top tick or a bottom tick, I always revert to this 4-hour chart. And not only the 4-hour chart, but guess what? I revert to this daily chart. And what I'm asking myself when I'm looking at this daily chart is this an area where this daily chart could potentially stop? And that's it. Or if I'm at the bottom and I'm looking for a long, is this an area where it can potentially, be at the bottom? That's the simplest question I ask myself. And I base that off of previous price action. Look at this here. So around here on Thursday, we came up here and we rejected. Friday, we rejected. And guess what? We're in that same exact area. So I'm like, if I take a short here, it's like, will it? If I ask myself that question, am I in an area where it will reject? The answer to that question is no. So I wouldn't take a stab at shorts there. Now that we came up, I'm like, okay, are we in an area that can reject? Yes. Okay, and not only that, not only am I looking at the daily, but I'm looking at the 4-hour. What is the 4-hour telling me? Look at this. So Supply and demand. If you know supply and demand, then you'll understand this. But we're in the supply zone here that caused this big reaction to the down. Oh, we caused this big reaction to the downside. And now we're retesting it. I'm looking at my 4-hour chart, right? It's 12 o'clock. So, or it's 1 o'clock. So this 4-hour just opened up. Where is my wick at? Where is my 4-hour high at? So my 4-hour high was already formed right here. So, oh, I'm sorry. Which one am I looking at? 9 o'clock. It was around, it's confusing me because it was around 12 o'clock when I took the entry. But at 12 o'clock, I'm looking at the chart. I'm asking. So I was in the trade from 12 to like, I don't know what time I got out of the trade, like 2, like around 2 p.m. So when this 4-hour formed, I'm asking myself, where's my 4-hour high? Okay, so my 4-hour high is in this previously reacted area. And then where's my 4-hour low? So when I opened this chart, obviously my 4-hour didn't look like this. It looked at like something like this. So we had that 4-hour high, and then the body was still like kind of small. It was like that. So I'm looking at that, and I asked myself, okay, so what does this favor more? Okay. And obviously from this context, we're in this supply zone. That's one confluence, right? And then we have this 4-hour high, which is a perfectly good 4-hour high, but we have no 4-hour low formed. So that's another confluence on a top tick. So I have 2 really good confluences already matched. Now, obviously, I would not take a reversal trade in a market that's just what this is my only confluence. I need to also know, how is price going into this area. So that was also another thing. So that was also another thing. So in the 5-minute, if you go in the 5-minute, price all day long was just chopping. We were chopping all day long today. So it was a whole bunch of a nothing burger all day today. I couldn't find a setup, but for some reason we started picking up volume right here. And when you see volume picking up to an area that is a highly likely area that can reject our support, or as a supply zone or a demand zone, that is a good indication. That's a great sign that your trade may play out. So that's what I look for. If this was to keep going, like, let me see. If the price action to the zone was like this, I would have never shorted it. Let's get that straight. So if the price action was like this, a short was not seeing me. But since we got that volume was picking up, we were going into the area strong, we started to react. That was my snap, okay? I can get in here, and all I need to do, because my trade is based off of the prediction that this is the high of the day. All I have to do is put my stop above here. My stop doesn't need to go any further, okay? If I'm right, if my trade is right, my stop doesn't need to go any further. If I really think that this is the high, my entry is here, my stop is here. I'm not risking much. Okay, okay. So, but my outcome is exponential, but my stop loss is tiny because I think that that's the top, right? So yeah, that's basically all I look for when it comes to top ticks and bottom ticks. I hope I wasn't yapping too much, but I hope I kind of explained it to you guys well. That's all I look for. Let me give you guys another kind of like example of something really quick. Okay, so let's look at this supply zone over here, right? So we have the supply zone. I'm not going to mark it extremely perfect because look at how zoomed out I am, right? But we have the supply zone. Okay, this is a good example of why I only take the supply/demand zones on that first test or that second test, because when we created the zone, we tested it, had a great reaction to the downside. But that second time we came through, guess what? We broke it, okay? And that's a good example of why I do not like taking it after that second test. Now, the second test, it does get a little bit iffy as well, but as you take The way to think of supply and demand is the market is going to these areas or these interest areas on the chart, and as they're going into these areas, they are absorbing all of the people or all of the corps or all of the big banks and people, everything that moved the market previously. They're absorbing those orders that are sitting there, right? So if you go there again, it's like a cell, right? Let's think of it like a cell. The first time someone runs a cell, they probably get an exponential amount of people buying the things. But if they run that same exact cell, it probably won't interest that many people anymore, right? And if they run it again, people are probably like, what the heck? Like, are we supposed to be excited for this? Because like this is the third time they didn't run this cell. Think of supply and demand in that way. Like the more times that we keep going to these supply and demand zones, the more likely they are to break. Because when you go to these zones, what's causing these big reactions is that those orders that are sitting there. So if you keep going back there, those orders are getting absorbed, okay? And the zone is likely to break the more times you keep going to it. So I'm not going to keep trading it after the second test. I don't mess with it after that. So that's the way I like to think of it. So that's also a good way to predict the top or the bottom. But overall, my advice to anybody that is looking to trade anything and or try to top tick or bottom tick, always ask yourself, is this a good place the daily could potentially bottom or top out? Ask yourself that before you take the trade. Ask yourself, where's my 4 hour at? Does my 4 hour have a high? Does my 4 hour does it have a wick on the high? Does it have a wick at the bottom? Does it have anything yet? Has it created the structure yet? Ask yourself that before you take those trades, and you'll be successful. I'm astonished at my improvement since I've started trading back in November or something. I'm just ecstatic. I don't know, but honestly, I've been studying the charts. Like even when I'm not working, like even when the markets are closed, I'm studying the charts. I'm going over losses. I'm going over wins. I'm watching my own YouTube videos. I'm literally doing so much. I'm writing down criteria of why my wins win, why my losers lose. And a lot of those criteria is why, when I'm telling you guys, why I don't trade after the second test, why I don't trade when it's slowly grinding into a zone, why I don't trade when it's not confirmed, a break and retest terminology. Stuff like that. It's all because I've gone through my losses. I've gone through my wins. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but a lot of losses that you take in trading can be completely avoided if you just realize why you take those losses. Okay? So that's me. And that's just a basic rundown of how I look for bottoms and top ticks. It's not really a really full in-depth video, but it's a good kind of base video. So I'll try to dish out some more content for you guys soon. I haven't decided what it will be. So if you guys like what you saw, please feel free to click the subscribe button to support your gal. And as always, if you made it this far, thank you so much, and God bless you all.